When the United States government shuts down, it's more than an accounting error. The current shutdown started when the Senate Democrats decided to filibuster a clean funding resolution. The Senate requires 60 votes to close debate, a process known as cloture. Republicans have a slim majority in the Senate, so they can pass the CR sent over by the House of Representatives, but they don't have enough votes to close debate. When the Democrats acted, they provided a significant set of demands, but have subsequently announced that what they really want is a continuation of a temporary pandemic subsidy to insurance companies providing Obamacare insurance. Since no such bill exists, the confrontation itself seems to be the objective. How did we get to the point where the minority of one house of Congress can shut down the government for more than a month? Let's go back and follow the trail. Before 1980, a missed budget deadline didn't mean the government stopped. Agencies simply kept operating while Congress finished its work. That changed when Attorney General Benjamin Civiletti, under President Jimmy Carter, issued a legal opinion. He ruled that federal agencies could not spend money without a passed appropriations bill because the Constitution gives Congress the sole power of the purse. From that point on, failing to pass a budget meant one thing: shut down. In 1981, Ronald Reagan had his first shutdown. He had 8 of them between 81 and 89. Most lasted only a few days, but each revealed a clash between two visions of America. Republicans wanted to shrink the government, cut taxes, and reduce social spending. Democrats, led by Speaker Tip O'Neill, defended social safety nets. In 1981, the shutdown lasted 2 days, over $8.5 billion in budget cuts to domestic spending. Reagan got most of his cuts, and the message was clear: conservative fiscal policy had muscle. The shutdowns of the 80s hardened partisan divisions over spending that persist to this day. His vice president, George H.W. Bush, had a different issue. In 1990, President George H.W. Bush faced this crisis. He had famously said, "Read my lips," no new taxes at his Republican convention. But a growing federal deficit forced him to negotiate with Democrats for a mix of spending cuts and tax increases. Conservatives in his own party rebelled. The result was a 3-day shutdown. Bush ultimately agreed to raise taxes, a decision that cost him dearly with his base and helped doom his 1992 re-election bid. The episode showed that shutdown politics could end a presidency. Few shutdowns were more dramatic than the battle between Bill Clinton and Newt Gingrich. Republicans had taken control of Congress for the first time in 40 years, promising to rein in spending and balance the budget. Clinton vetoed their proposed cuts. The first shutdown lasted 5 days. The second, a staggering 21 days, became the longest in history up to that point. Parks, passport offices, and museums closed. 800,000 workers were furloughed. But the public didn't blame Clinton. They blamed Congress. Gingrich was seen as reckless, even petty. Clinton's approval soared. He won re-election. Gingrich's image never recovered. Shutdown politics it turned out was a dangerous game. In 2013, the pattern repeated under President Barack Obama. This time, the spark was, guess, the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. The new Republican majority in the House, led by Speaker John Boehner, faced pressure from hardline conservatives and the Tea Party movement. Senator Ted Cruz became the face of resistance, demanding that any spending bill defund Obamacare. Obama refused. The government shut down for 16 days. National parks closed, federal research halted, over 800,000 workers were sent home without pay. The Congressional Budget Office estimated the shutdown cost the U.S. economy $20 billion. When it ended, Obamacare survived untouched, and Republicans took a political hit. But the episode deepened mistrust within the GOP and showed how a minority faction could wield outsized power. In 2018 and 2019, the longest shutdown in American history occurred during Donald Trump's first administration. In December of 2018, Trump demanded $5.8 billion for a border wall. Democrats, newly in control of the House under Speaker Nancy Pelosi, refused. Trump declared he was proud to shut down the government for border security. The result? 35 days of closure. National parks overflowed with garbage, airports faced major delays, 800,000 federal workers went unpaid, many forced to find temporary jobs. Public support for the shutdown collapsed. Facing intense pressure, Trump agreed to reopen the government without wall funding. The standoff exposed the limits of executive leverage. Under President Joe Biden, Congress narrowly avoided multiple shutdowns through temporary funding measures known as continuing resolutions, or CR. Each time, the debate centered on familiar issues: debt limits, spending priorities, and party divisions. But the underlying problem remained. The federal budget process itself had become a weapon. Shutdowns were no longer rare, they were expected. Now, these shutdowns have been expensive. The 2018-2019 closure alone cost $11 billion in lost GDP, according to the Congressional Budget Office. Millions of federal contracts were delayed. Scientific research was frozen. But beyond money, shutdowns erode faith in government. They send a message that even the most basic function of governing is subject to partisan warfare. Over time, that message sticks. It feeds cynicism, alienation, the belief that Washington is broken. The 2025 shutdown is different. During the Biden presidency, the solution to pass a continuing resolution, which did not adjust spending, but rather continued spending at the existing level, both parties supported these resolutions. In fact, such a resolution passed in March of 2025 to carry the budget through September of 2025. This time, September 2025, the House passed such a CR with only Republican votes, but the Senate can't get to 60 votes to close debate. Now, neither the filibuster, ongoing debate, nor cloture are found in the Constitution. The Senate could change its rules to make cloture a simple majority, then close debate and end the shutdown. President Trump has suggested the Senate do so, but GOP senators are very reluctant to do so. They know the risks. What do you think? Should a minority of one house be allowed to close the government? I'm Bruce Alton Carlson. For more on the Constitution and the U.S. government, please like, subscribe, and come back and see me.